We're live pon that. Bomba clot. Let me make sure. It's been a long time since I actually just runned it without. We're live pon that. There we go. Without doing an intro. All right, give me like a little test 1 2 1 long time since I actually just you
Microphone check 1 2.
Doing an intro. All right, give me like a little test 1 2 1 long time since I actually just I'm listening. You
the microphone check.
Okay, it works perfectly. It's absolutely perfect, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. Let me y'all can't hear the Stream Deck sound effects. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Let me add that back there. There we are. Should be able to hear that. There we go. You won't be able to hear the sound effects, so I'll try to refrain from using them. So, everybody, we're back. Welcome back. And we're back with Reborn Vids, his third appearance on the show. Tell us how you feel being invited back for the third time. This is like going on Johnny Carson in the 80s.
So I got a story, okay? When I got out of the army, okay, I was in Iran, and everybody was loving Johnny Carson, okay? But then we saw this guy, Jimmy Fallon, coming up, okay? And then I made $200 million, okay? And then always Marco, okay? He comes out with defaming me, okay? But my nostrils got me through it, okay?
So inspiring. Thank you so much, Pat. Really appreciate that. We're here. 63 people watching so far. Let's let everybody join in. You know, basically the two biggest Patrick Bet-David experts on the planet right here, me and Reborn. I made sure that I put us on separate screens and we wore different colored shirts as to avoid any confusion about whether we were actually the same person or not. So that's good. What else? Thumbs up the ting. Click like on the stream to get, the algorithm doing its thing and notifying people we're live and whatever. And we already, Mr. Reborn, we already have a donation from somebody. And that person is, okay, so we've got a donation. This is Hamad Yusuf. He's an Arab, okay? Is he Palestinian? Is he Muslim? We don't know. But you look at a guy like that, he's donating $10, right? How many times do you need to get $10 and multiply that to have $10 billion? He's saying, buy up Tesla stocks so that you can become the Shah of Iran. Not Iran, but Iran. So thank you, Hamad Yusuf, for that. Really appreciate it. Thank you for that. Vinny, send him a early access to Vault Conference. Early access just to buy a ticket, not actually to get anything exclusive.
Yeah, there's an early access fee, guy, but you're the first one to get it.
You're the first one to get it. It's like, it's the opposite of a perk, right? It's like, you're actually the first one to give me money.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
It's an honor.
That's hilarious. Jeff Miller was looking forward to the AI Epstein Island songs. I apologize. What happens with Adam with the debate on Piers Morgan? There's so much we have to look at. First of all, the reason I called this stream The End of PBD is not just because he has infamously horrible takes, but more so than anything, it's to show and talk about how much their audience on this fucking show has absolutely just turned against them. Like, you're lucky to come across like a favorable or positive comment. They just recently had what's his name on the show co-hosting it. What's his name? Not Lindsey Graham. Sean Hannity. Bro,
yes.
Every clip I see, even when he himself uploads it, like Patrick, the channel, uploads it onto their channel, all the comments are like, this guy's insufferable. I can't watch this guy anymore.
Who was Joey Morlino?
Let me pull up the most recent one they just did. Okay, here's one. So we're looking at. Okay, here, let's just share this one. All right, everybody, you should be able to see this. This is a video they did 13 days ago. 600,000 views, so they're still getting views. Joe Merlino, mafia boss of the Philadelphia crime family. Now, when I was in Philly, we're going to Casa di Joey Merlino, and what a great restaurant. Okay, let's look at the comments. Joey, is the sky blue? I don't know nothing about that. Okay, they're talking about this guy. So here, when you're seeing positive comments, it's positive comments about. Actually, this is good. This is a good way to show a juxtaposition of what's going on within this channel. Is when they have a guest on that people like. That's what all the comments will be about. When they do one of their home team episodes where it's like them and their personalities carrying it. Oh boy, here's here's a recent one. This is called Trump to Address Nation and Dave Smith Debate. Oh God. So you'll debate everyone but me, huh, Patrick? Gotcha. All right, let's see. Who else came straight to the comments? Tom, in regards to Adam, I don't have anything to say. Adam for sure gets emotional for someone who doesn't care. After watching Adam and Dave Smith, I knew Pat was going to rip him. There's no fucking way Pat would have let this happen. Oh my God. Who depends on you, Adam? Your mom? Dude, honestly, tell me if you disagree with this, bro, but I think Adam being on the show is the final like shield that Pat can hide behind to stop people from flaming him because they can just point it at Adam.
Right. Yeah, he's like a lightning rod of criticism, and he's like the only person that's probably dumber than Pat. So, I ran into this guy, okay, Adam, okay, and I said, he's almost dumber than I am, okay? So I put him on the show, and I'm thinking, we're going to get 1 to 2 critics, okay, with me on the show, but with him, okay, we're going to get we're going to 10x that, okay, and we're going to take that, and we're going to turn it into the Steve Jobs of podcast, okay?
Steve Jobs.
A lot of comments, everybody hate on us, okay, but 20 million letters.
Is this the clip? America sends troops Israel. Is this the clip where that you told me about, where he's like, for every Iranian soldier, we need to have 3 Israelis or something like that?
Yeah, let's click it. Let's watch it.
Let's watch it.
Israel, 1,000,000% more boots on the ground right now. You know what they're called?
Hold
Mossad.
on.
Do you know how many people of Mossad that are? Okay, you want to talk about boots on the ground? Israel has 1,000,000% more boots on the ground right now. You know what they're called? Mossad. You know how many people of Mossad that are in
that negotiation
basically
doesn't work with me. No, that negotiation.
Okay, but it doesn't matter what it works with.
Let me
sir.
explain to you.
It matters what works with our president.
Let me explain to you. Let me explain.
Can I finish my point?
No, you can't. Let me
Okay,
explain to you on this specific, and then you can finish your thought. For me, that is a very cold argument to make to somebody who has lost a family member to a war that they didn't support. That's exactly the point why so many people hate these effing wars, because they lost a child, they lost a brother, they lost a son. Go talk to those guys that have a job in the military that have to go explain to the mom and dad, your son just got killed, and for the rest of that person's life, that parent's life, go tell them, hey, support this thing here. No. To me, Mossad is Mossad. Go do what you're doing with Mossad. If I'm putting our kids' lives on the line, where are you with it?
Okay, you want to talk about boots on the ground? Israel has...
if we're putting our kids on the line, okay, you gotta show up, okay, and also put your kids on the line, okay, because I'm a numbers guy, okay. There's only one line, okay.
So let's say, let me ask you a question. Let's say you have one line, it's going this way, XYZ. You've got another line, it's going like that, this and that, ABC. If you take in the line that's going this way, but I'm standing over there, I'm going to see it as it's actually going this way. So who's right? Both of us or neither of us?
Well, I think we need the Shah's opinion, okay?
I agree with that. Okay, let's see. They just talk about everything. JD Vance leads. At this point, what would you classify the PBD podcast as? Because they'll talk about anything and everything. They're talking about Israel. They're talking about Tiger Woods' accident. Like, is it a tabloid? Is it the news? Is it a political show? I don't know. Is it this? Is it that?
Yeah, I think it's like a combo of propaganda, podcast. They talk on the news, it's just like I think you described it at one point when we talked last time. It's like how he transitioned from his insurance company to creating a media company.
Yes.
And he's doing his thing, but really it's a front, to funnel in more customers to his Vault conference, et cetera, right? So whatever
Right.
gets clicks, whatever gets views, talk about what's relevant, what's in the news, and give your shitty takes, and
Right.
have Adam make more of. There's a competition between who's going to make more of a fool of themselves. Vinny with his popping forehead vein, Adam with his just mouth,
Yep.
PBD with his nostrils,
And then
regardless.
poor Tom. Poor Tom, man. He's held hostage there.
Yeah.
Were you having trouble with your camera, by the way?
I changed my camera. Yeah, I changed my camera. It just came. I felt like it's coming a little blurry. I don't know why. I have like this. I just bought this new like vlogging camera. I switched it back to my. Let me. We could like check which.
You have the cam link? Did you buy the cam link thing?
Dude, it literally shows up as Camlink 4K.
Yeah, that should be.
Like here, I just changed it back. It's gonna.
Honestly, it's probably a Wi-Fi thing, bro, because it looks proper to me. It's probably being compressed through Google Meet, if I had to guess. Because do I look super crispy on your end?
You do. Well, I don't see you right now, but you do look crispy. Yeah.
You don't
I
see me?
on, not this second, but I have YouTube right next to me, right here.
Okay.
You look good.
Thank you, my king. There's another creator. My comment low key. Here, I'm gonna pull this up on the screen because my comment low key. I don't want to say viral. I'm too humble to say that. But there's another guy who made a video about Pat being a bullshitter, and I'm gonna pull up this video right now. If it loads. Okay. This is an Instagram reel. The account is Shots by Matta or Matt A, I'm guessing. So let's just listen to this, okay?
Patrick Det David is. So
Restart. Here we go. If it loads.
this is what an absolute complete fraud Patrick Det David is. So there's a YouTuber, he goes by the name of Professor Yang, and he created this entire basically scenario on how every step of this war could play out, from best case scenario to worst case scenario. Now, Patrick Det David and his team literally went and copied. They just got community noted over here on X, so we know that this is legit. Just got community noted, and when you go watch the production of Patrick Bet David and what he did, he literally almost copied Yang's work word for word to the T. And he had this whole like spectacular breakdown, like he was the mental brains behind this operation, and such a complete fraud that even over here on X, they community note him. Patrick Det David, you should delete this video and hang your head in complete and absolute shame, dude. You're a disgrace to every Iranian. You are over here carrying the FBI, the White House, Fed slop narrative for the military-industrial complex. We see why you created a media outlet now, because you wanted a seat at the table with all the other cuck losers who are willing to sell out America for a paycheck. Fuck you. So this is what an absolute complete fraud Patrick Det David is. So there's a YouTuber, he goes by the name of Professor Yang.
So I would imagine that that's really how Patrick Bet David does everything. He probably just steals the formula for everything and just does it himself. That's probably how he does his conferences, his whole business format, right?
So I agree, and let's actually pull up this specific example. Professor Jang, I like how he was also calling him Patrick Det David. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it sounded like he was saying Patrick Det David. So funny. And then Pat has the ball. Oh, this is crazy. Pat has the audacity, the audacity to let me pull this up. Rob, pull this up. 5 hours ago, bro, I'm so fresh to the market with this. 5 hours ago, Patrick uploads a clip on Valuetainment, a useful idiot, Professor Jang exposed as a fraud. Now, without even watching this, I already know, because it was also uploaded 5 hours ago, the clip. Professor Jang exposed says he's not actually a professor. So apparently Professor Jang, or however you say it, is not actually a professor. He was like a high school English lit teacher who calls himself Professor Jang and goes by Professor Jang, which I personally don't really care about that. I really don't care. The irony, though, of Patrick to make this video being like, oh, apparently he's not actually a professor, when so what does that make you? if Professor Jiang is a fraud because he's not actually a professor, and you're blatantly plagiarizing allegedly his video, what does that make you? That you're riding the coattails and biting a guy who's a useful idiot and a fraud. Should we watch the full 9-minute clip or just the short clip? Let's start with the short clip, I guess.
So then we invite to have a conversation with him. He's on a conversation with another guy who, he's been mouthing off a lot lately.
He's talking about Sneeko.
And he's doing his own thing. We had a conversation with him. I don't want to talk about the individual's name. And all of a sudden he's like, well, the reason because I thought this was going to be a hit piece. That's why I didn't want to go on PBD Podcast. They were trying to do hit piece.
They were trying to do hit piece, by the way. Not it's like what you talked about, how he doesn't say what's it called, the supposition, or what's the word, like the, and the word that comes before the subject. What's that called?
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't use those. Like, so they think it's gonna be hit job.
So they think it's gonna be hit job. Okay, and my nostrils aren't even that big. Okay, so if I sneeze, okay, it's gonna hit the walls to the side. Okay, but it's not gonna hit you. Okay, no hit job. Okay, I don't understand. What kind of people are these? Okay,
I think him and Ben Shapiro both have a medical condition where the more they lie, the more a certain part of their face grows. So with Ben Shapiro, it's his eyebrows, and with Patrick, it's his nose. Ben's eyebrows and Patrick's nose are going out of control these days. Okay, here. Sorry, let's finish this clip.
With you.
That's what this guy Zhang said?
That's what the guy said on camera. He says, yeah, what was the word he used, Rob? I think they were trying to set, it was a setup. It was a setup.
Oh, okay. Good.
And I'm like, I want to hear your thoughts and your angles on where you came with this conclusion. And then the person he probably least worried about, taking a shot at him, Mehdi Hassan. Kudos to Mehdi Hassan on this interview. Good for you, Mehdi. Play this clip, Rob. Go for it.
Rob, play the clip.
Graduate. And you're not a professor. I know it's your YouTube moniker, but you're a high school teacher. You're not actually a professor.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not a professor. I'm not a professor. But I never said I was a professor. It's the internet who called me a professor.
Hold on.
Hi, YouTube. This is Professor Jiang. Hi, YouTube. This is Professor Jiang. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here.
Professor Jiang here.
Professor Jiang here.
So then we invite to have a conversation with him. He's on a conversation with another.
Okay, so this is the big contention that warrants these clickbaity titles like Professor Jiang exposed as a fraud. I don't personally give a fuck about this. I look at him calling himself professor the same way I look at Dr. Dre calling himself a doctor. It's like his stage name, essentially. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think also, I didn't watch the full clip, but I think right there he was saying it wasn't me that coined the name professor. I call myself professor now because people just started calling me that, and I just ran with it. I think that's what he was trying to say.
That's what I think too.
But
that's exactly what I think too.
Not that I'm gonna fucking ride this guy's coattails or whatever. Like, I don't think all his takes are that good, but I don't have anything personal against him. Like, I think he gets some things right. I mean, he's definitely an interesting guy. I'll take him over PBD any day of the week.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I agree exactly with what you just said. Let me see if I can find the comparison between how. Okay, here. So this guy in this YouTube video, shout out to this guy, is reacting to the exact same clip that I forgot to even say this. What am I screen sharing? Am I screen sharing just the tab, or am I screen sharing my entire screen? Like, if I open a new tab here, will it share that? No. Okay. So my mistake is I forgot to show y'all my the comment that I had left on this Instagram reel. So going back to this tab for a second, I commented 3 weeks ago, been calling out Pat for a couple years now. Thanks for sharing this. 442 likes, not too shabby. I had to like this comment. Persian rug salesman. I love that this perception of Patrick is spreading because I agree with it. I'm not literally calling him a Persian rug salesman. Here's another one, 1,000 likes. PBD became unwatchable. This, not only has the sentiment shifted on Patrick's own channel and his own comments, but without a doubt, you cannot go to another person's platform or like another account that's not his specifically and find positive stuff. It's just impossible.
Right. Yeah, and I don't understand really like when people are like, man, I thought I used like PBD sold out. PBD, which like implies that like he wasn't a sellout before, or like he was
Yeah,
like
like
he's
yeah, right. When was he not sold out? When was he not selling out?
right. Like I fucking hate when people say that shit. Like he was always garbage. Like it's just that the thing is, things like current events like October 7th and wars in the Middle East kind of
7th of October? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, October 7th, you see the terrorists, the
You
terrorists.
remember what Hamas did 7th of October?
These kind of controversial things that are ongoing kind of force him to expose his real positions and who he is, and people, see him for who he really is. When as opposed to like 2021 or 22, when we're in a time of quote unquote peace,
Right.
it's like he kind of get away with like his shilling for the Shah here and there, and him talking about Iran guy, and every once in a while, but it gets to number 9 on the list. Okay,
He's probably so bricked that Iran is actually being mentioned in like the public sphere because it gives him an excuse to talk about it. Which I mean, not that he needed one before, but
right, and it makes him look like an expert or something. Like when
yeah,
he was
yeah,
talking when he was talking to Dan Bilzerian, he's asking, he's like, so you think that Israel doesn't have the right to exist? Okay, you don't think it should be around? And Dan Bilzerian is like, give me a reason why it should be, right? Give me one good reason why we should support Iran as America. That was the question. We should defend Israel. I mean, right? He's like, have you heard of Iran? Have you been to the Middle East? I lived there till I was 10 years old. Okay. And I'm thinking in my head, it's like, he asked you asked him a question about Israel and why America should defend Israel, and the first thing you do is bring up fucking Iran. What the hell does that? What does that have to do with America's relationship with Israel?
right.
Like
Yeah.
Iran, America, whether Iran is a antagonist to America or not, America can handle Iran. They don't need to funnel billions of fucking dollars to Israel and get dragged into their wars for their interests while sacrificing ours. And that's kind of what's happening right now. Like I've been paying attention to how this whole war in Iran thing has been playing out, and I've been paying attention to what like Trump and his administration's been doing and saying. You could see how like Israel pushed Trump into that war, right? And now that Trump is in it, he doesn't really have a good exit strategy. And now he's trying to push the Gulf countries to fight and spend more money. And he's bullying European countries too. He's getting mad at France and England, and other countries for not joining, right? It's like, you didn't ask to fucking join your war. Like you're going to get mad at them because they don't want to fucking get involved. You're the one who fucking started this shit.
Yeah.
But that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's just leveraging his position. It's just like a trickle down bully effect, right? Like he's, like
right.
he's actually, but it's really him getting bullied by Israel. But he's allowing himself to. That's how it seems to me. I don't really know why, he decided to go through with this war, but it was clearly for Israel. It's in their interests.
Well, I even saw a video of, don't quote me on this, it was either Marco Rubio or Pete Hegseth, one of these guys who was or maybe JD Vance, I don't know, one of Trump's goons. And they were like talking about how Israel was bound to attack Iran based on information that they were going to attack them. And so we just took it upon ourselves to preemptively attack on behalf of someone else. Make it make sense.
Right. Like
also, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, let them do their own fucking attack. You pay them enough billions of dollars.
Yeah. Billions and millions of dollars. Also, you mentioned Dan Bilzerian and Patrick Bet-David. It's funny. There was a clip I saw where Patrick Bet-David asks him something to the effect of like, I wonder if I could find this clip to make sure I'm not misremembering it. But to the best of my recollection, I don't want to be quoted out of context here, but to the best of my recollection, Patrick is asking Dan Bilzerian about, well, why do you have an issue with Israel being their own state when there's how many different Arab states? And I think Dan Bilzerian says, I don't know why I'm confused now because I've watched so many like podcast clips, but I'm pretty sure it was these two that were talking on the pod. I certainly remember this exchange happening, and my memory tells me that it was between Pat and Dan Bilzerian, but I might be wrong on that. I'll see if I can find it after. But the question is asked: why don't you think Israel should have their own nation when all these other Arab nations have their nations? Or there's how many Arab states, which is a common one that's used. It's like, oh, the poor Jews, the poor Israelis, they don't have their own state. Why can't you just leave them alone? All the Arabs have their states, and it's like, well, there's how many U.S. states or provinces in Canadian provinces? Does that mean you should just give it up? Like, I remember 10 years ago, I worked at a restaurant, and there was a girl who worked there who, when I was talking to her, she told me that her background was Kurdish. And I had never heard of a Kurdish person before. I'm going to just share this tab real quick so people can see. So you can Google, do the Kurdish have a country? The overview says, no, Kurds do not have an independent sovereign country. With a population of 30 to 40 million, basically the entire population of Canada, they are widely considered the world's largest stateless ethnic group, living primarily in a region spanning Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. While they lack a nation state, they have established autonomous regions, notably the Iraqi Kurdistan region. So, it's funny. A group that's 3 to 4 times bigger than the global Jewish population, even when they factor in the people who are like, how many different subsets of Jews are there? There's Mizrahi Jews, Ashkenazi Jews. You know what I mean? There's there's Jews that look like Benny Blanco, and then there's Jews that look like Dave Franco, and then there's Jews that look like Arabs, basically. So even when you factor in all of those, there's what, 15 million?
Yeah.
So we keep hearing about this. I don't hear anybody trying to mention that same argument for the Kurdish people. And then I think after this, Patrick's response was to just change the subject and be like, well, it's not the same thing.
Well, it's funny he said he would say that because it's funny that both of you are saying that, actually, because people use the Kurdish question against Arabs, actually, right? They say because see, Israel, they have the upper hand against Palestine when it comes to having their own sovereignty and territory, right? They have the majority.
Israel has the upper hand.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
They occupy most of Palestine. Palestine is a bunch of fucking little islands in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, which has basically been, it looks like a nuclear bomb was dropped on it, right?
Right.
So when really it's now that the pro-Palestinian groups fighting for an independent Palestinian state. So what they say is, oh, well, how come you don't give one to the Kurds? Right?
I see.
Right. Now, it's funny that Patrick didn't want to answer that, even though he's pro-Israel, because the Kurds have a region in Iran, right? And the Kurds, they want their independence, right?
Okay.
So when every country that they're in, a lot of them have separatist groups, whether it's in Syria, Iraq, Turkey. They have a lot of issues with the Turkish government. Like, that's where they have their biggest issues. And Iran. There was talks with, like, even during this war, there was talks with the Kurdish groups, I think, in Iraq and Iran, to go and do an insurgency against the Iranian government. I don't think that ever worked out, but they've always kind of been used by, like, the American government to do their bidding and let Americans have bases there, like in Syria, and they would support them in fighting other groups in Syria, et cetera, and as in return, maybe they get some benefits, weapons. They dangle the idea of them getting their own state in front of them, but it just never really works out for them.
I see. Is this also similar to the Khalistan movement? Like, we had in Alberta, like, mind you, Alberta, Canada, there was like protests of these Indians arguing for a Khalistan separatist movement seeking to create a homeland for Sikhs by establishing an ethno-religious sovereign state called Khalistan in the Punjab region. I mean,
yeah, it's similar. It's very similar. It's a lot of so the thing that has to be understood, right? Khalistan, I mean, the Punjab region that's in the Punjab region, India, Pakistan, etc. And they're part of the Sikh religion. This is for the Sikh,
okay,
right? So the Sikhs, they similar story to the Kurds. Like they had this assumption or even promise that they were going to get their own independent statehood, and they didn't. Right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it creates animosity. They get kind of caught in between Pakistan and India, and sometimes they're used as a proxy against one another. It's the same thing with the Kurds, right? During the Iran-Iraq war, Iran and Iraq went to war with each other back in the 80s when Saddam was still around, right?
Okay.
And at one point during that war, there's Kurds in both Iran and Iraq, right? The Kurds in Iran were getting funded by Saddam to undermine the Iranian government, and the Iranian government was funding the Kurds in Iraq to undermine the Iraqi government.
Make sense.
You know what I mean? So yeah, like they're because they don't have their own independent state, they're a little bit more vulnerable. They get caught up in a lot of these conflicts, and then you get used as proxies. And it's unfortunate. There's, especially in the Middle East, one thing that has to be understood, there's a lot of ethnic groups in the Middle East. It's not just Arabs. And there's a lot of different religions too. It's not just Christians and Muslims or even Jews. There's things called the Druze, right? You're a Druze, right? Yep. There's Yazidis, right? They have their own religion. They're in Iraq too. There's Alawites, right? They're like a sect, like a sect of Islam. Personally, I don't really, it's debatable whether they're considered Muslim, to be honest. But whatever, they're like a branch of Islam, et cetera, right? And then there's other ethnic groups, right? Like there's Christian Chaldeans. Right, they're in Iraq. There's Assyrians, which is part of what Patrick Bet is. That's another minority. They don't have their own state. They're part of like an old empire, right? The question is, how come they don't all have their own independent state? And the answer is, you don't deserve an independent state simply because you're a minority group or simply because you're an ethnic group. You don't need one for that simple reason, right?
Right.
That Kurds, you could argue it's unfair what happened to them. It's unfair. You could argue that they should have got their own state.
What happened? In like 10 seconds or less, what happened? There was I don't know anything.
Like the British and the French formed the borders of the Middle East. And that through the Sykes-Picot Agreement, they weren't really included. But then once the Ottoman Empire fell, the different groups, like I believe Italy, France, and some other countries, they were gonna like divide up Turkey.
Oh, I see.
They were gonna give Kurdistan, the Kurds, their own independent state. But then the Ottomans, or modern day Turkey at that time, I think the Ottoman Empire kind of fell apart at that time. But the Turkish fought back against these countries occupying Greece, Italy, etc., and they took over, right? And they chose not to give the Kurds their own state.
I see. Okay.
They lost out, and the Kurds argued that they worked for the Ottoman Empire at one point. They did a lot of they were in the Ottoman armies, et cetera, et cetera.
I see. Okay. So I might be oversimplifying this, but like, I mean, is it as absurd as me being like, hey, a million friends of mine, we're going to start our own new thing and then start demanding a state? Like, is it that preposterous? Is it as preposterous as that when you talk about these groups? I'm trying to get back to your point where you're saying you don't deserve an independent state just cause.
Right. Yeah. I think it's just like, it is kind of preposterous. It is kind of like what you're saying, Now, the point that needs to be understood is that every single one of these ethnic groups, right, no matter how diverse they are, regardless of their religion, they deserve to be treated as human beings equally, right? They should all be treated as citizens, equal citizens of their country. They shouldn't be oppressed. Like me, I'm Arab, right? I'm somebody asked if I'm Palestinian, but I also identify as Arab too. If you ask me personally, honestly, no offense to Kurds, I don't think Kurds need their own state. You can make an argument that maybe in Turkey, because they have a lot of conflict with Turkey. Like they've had a lot of bad blood between them and Turkey.
So what are they ethnically? Are they Arabs?
ethnically, originally, I believe they're Persian, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay, because that's the vibe, the accent of the girl that I worked with like 10 years ago. She was like, I'm Kurdish. And I was like, so you're okay.
Yeah, they're not Arab. They have their own language, but I think even if you like were to look it up, it would say that they're originally Persian.
Are Kurds Persian? Kurds are not Persian. They are an Iranian people. Same shit. Meaning common ancestral.
Yeah.
I'm not Druze, bro. I'm Anunnaki. What you know about the Anunnaki?
They share a common ancestral and linguistic branch with the Persian. I mean, they're very close. It's debatable. If you look it up in other places, they'll say they're Persian, right?
This is me, brother. I'm a black Israelite. This is me. This is my shit.
Yeah.
I'm Anunnaki, bro. I'm a sacred alien. I'm an ancient alien. Look at me. This is me. Sumerian, also transcribed as Anunnaki, a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. This is me, buddy. I'm a Phoenician.
That's dope.
Somebody in the chat asked, is Reborn Palestinian?
Yes, I am. I'm a Palestinian. But,
yes. So question. Sorry. Keep that thought so we can go back to it. This is just a quick question. How this might be a stupid question, but I want to ask it on behalf of people who might not know, because I've seen this asked in comments. How are Palestinian Americans a thing, for example? Because you obviously weren't born in Palestine, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't have been able to get out of Palestine. So then how did your relatives get out of Palestine in order to have you to begin with?
Well, that's not necessarily true. That technically, you could say that about me personally, because yes, I wasn't born in Palestine.
Okay.
I was actually born in Jordan. A lot of Palestinians, moved or fled to neighboring countries. The biggest one was Jordan, because it's a neighboring country. But I'm not ethnically Jordanian. Ethnically,
makes sense.
I'm Palestinian.
Okay, that's like my grandma.
Right?
She was born in Jordan, but she's Lebanese.
Oh, okay, yeah, she's Druze.
Yes,
makes sense. Yeah. So, but there are Palestinians that are born in Palestinian territories that move to America. I know plenty of them.
How though? Because they go through Jordan or Egypt or whatever.
No, they could go through Jordan. They could go through Egypt, but also, they have different types of identification. Like there's some, okay, straight up, some Palestinians, they have Israeli citizenship, right?
Right.
They live in territories. There were cities, in Israel. We call it an occupation state, right? Because they came and they occupied what was then called Palestine. Not everyone fled. They kind of some of them, they kind of just made a deal with them. Like they're like, all right, fine. If you stay, like you just take Israeli citizenship, and technically speaking, you're Israeli, right? But ethnically, they're Palestinian. They call themselves Arab. They call themselves Arab though, because it's very. There's a lot of racism towards being Palestinians. They try to erase that identity, but that's for another topic. That said, having Israeli citizenship makes it a lot easier on them to travel to America and through Israel and Palestine, etc. Then there's people who have something called like a Hawiyah, which is like it's not Israeli citizenship, but it's like an identification card that's like makes it somewhat easier for Palestinians to travel through checkpoints.
Okay.
Cities.
Got you.
And then there's like other Palestinians who have like lesser forms of identification, and it's a little harder for them. So it's hard for a lot of them. But I mean, it's like I went to college with plenty of Palestinians. I was just at a college event for an Eid thing. I was chilling with somebody from the West Bank. He came here.
So, but if you go back, like this again, this might be a stupid question, so I apologize in advance. But like, let's say you wanted to go, obviously before October 7th. Let's say you wanted to go back and visit Palestine in 2019 or something. Could you go back and then be allowed to leave again because you have an American passport, or would they fuck with you because you're Palestinian American?
They can. I'm gonna have a lot. It's gonna be I haven't been, and
You've
I
never
always
been there.
ask. No, but I always ask this question. I always ask this question to Palestinians that I know because I want to go. Right? I ask this is the same question you ask. I even ask it to fucking Israelis. Right? They say I'd have a lot easier of a time because I have an American passport, but that doesn't mean it's going to be super easy because they can tell I'm Arab.
They're going to look at you. Yeah.
They're going to say like, "Why are you visiting?
Why you visiting Israel? Why you come to Israel? You have family
spy.
here?
You are a spy for Israel.
Yes, you don't like why you come here? Palestine no exist. You the Israel here.
So, yeah, like there's two ways to go there too. There's through Ben Gurion Airport, and then there's through the border of Jordan. And I've heard like they'll make you wait for hours. They might interrogate you. They might look through your phone, but people go. They get in. Sometimes they don't even make you wait at all. They get in. They go.
Do the Israelis also control the Jordan and Palestine like entryway?
Yeah, they from their side. They control, from their side. So Jordan obviously controls their side, right?
And then
Jordan,
the Palestinian side, the Israelis. Okay, I see.
Yeah, the Israeli side, they control that border crossing.
Okay, so anyways, going back, I didn't mean to go down that detour, but going back to what you were saying before, if you remember when
the ethnic groups?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was coming to the conclusion, like basically, simply being a minority ethnic group doesn't just mean that you automatically deserve or need a state, right? It's nice to have your own independent state. Doesn't mean you need it, right? Now, you could argue, like some people would say, oh, you're a hypocrite because you're Palestinian and you want your own independent state. You want to know why we need our own independent state? Look what happens not only in Gaza, in the West Bank. Bro, settlers accompanied by the army come and burn Palestinians' cars, villages, kill their animals, kill their livestock, kill them, kill their kids, run them over with cars. And they have nothing to defend themselves with. They're not allowed to own weapons. If they get caught with a weapon, they're going to spend years in jail, right? So it's like literally, it's like, they're like sitting ducks, right? They need their own statehood, right? That's a primary reason, right? Kurds, they're minorities in the countries they live in. They're a minority group in Iran. They're a minority group in Iraq. They're a minority group in Syria. That doesn't mean they need a state, though, right? In Syria, recently, they have their own like little militia groups or military groups called the SDF, right? It's like a leftist communist type military group. They want their own. They have their own interests. They want eventually independence. They kind of had a little bit of autonomy on their side of the. If you pulled up a map of Syria, like I could show you, they had like a little bit of autonomy on their side of the Euphrates River.
Okay.
The new government of Syria just came and took it over. Like, honestly, they kind of just fucked them up. Not like they didn't massacre them or anything, but they just took over their territory, right? But the president, in a I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said Kurds are equal to Syrians. He recognized the Kurdish language as a second language of Syria, as an official language of Syria. I think he even recognized Nowruz, which is like, it's a Persian holiday, which is another reason why, like, I said they're Persian, like they're very close to Persians.
Okay.
They celebrate Nowruz. He made it an official holiday in Syria, right? So that's how the approach should be taken. I agree with that approach. They don't need their own state, but they should be treated as equals. I as an Arab don't think I'm better than them because they're Kurdish. Like we're equal people and they deserve the same exact rights, and that's how it should go.
So long story short, to sum it all up, is you're anti-Semitic.
That's what some people would say. Yeah. Another group I would say who needs a state is, you could argue, is the Uyghurs, who are these Chinese, they're like these Asian Muslims living in China in a group called, it's like an unofficial region called East Turkestan, and they're put in concentration camps, basically in China, re-education camps to try to take Islam away from them. They're heavily oppressed. You could argue they need their own state, right? Because of the oppression they go through. But
they're not an ethnic group, right? They're just a bunch of Chinese people who are Muslim. Is that right?
Well, no, but they have their own language. They're technically an ethnic group because they speak Uyghur.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, but does that make you an ethnic group that you have your own language? And I mean,
I think having your own language is a huge part of it. Having your own type, like culture, is definitely part of it. And then the unique religious background too. They're like a mix of Turkic. They're technically, I think you could argue they're Turkic people, like people in Turkmenistan or Kazakhstan. Like if you go to those countries, they look Asian. You know, they're a mix
Kazakhstan,
of.
they do look Asian. They do look Asian. It's like these
They're very
sort of like the UFC fighters, like Khabib and all those guys. Like they're Russian, but they're Muslim. They're from all the different stands. You know.
Yeah. They look. They're Russian. Those guys. They're the Dagestanis and Kazakhs, or the Dagestanis and Chechens. They're definitely Russian. They're just Muslim. But yeah, like Turkmenistan, like a lot. They're like a mix of Turkic people, Persian people, but also I think they have a history of like the Mongolians.
Yeah.
Came in regions too. So like they have like a mix of that DNA. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Okay. So. Hold on, I want to read some of these comments here, but thank you for giving us that little sociology/history lesson. Okay, let's see. Mr. There is no spoon says BB is alive. Is that true? Did they debunk that he's AI? Is he, or maybe not debunk the AI, but is he alive?
He's alive.
Okay.
He's alive. That was always yes.
Darn. Appreciate you, John DePina. Parsa says. Patrick, the type of guy to lie about his height. So true. Anti-Shizzle says, last few weeks been rough, but looking forward to the streams. Appreciate you, man. It's good that Pat didn't say the F word and he said effing instead of saying the F word because, you know, kids watch the show.
Stop dropping F-bombs.
Stop dropping F-bombs. When guest says it, guest says it. You should join PBD Cigar Club, Marco. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, I want to go back to this. Somebody said Patrick has the eyes of a thief. Such a poetic, like old world type of. That sounds like something you would say in Arabic that doesn't translate like smoothly to English, like the eyes of a thief. You know. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked, "Is Vision Clearly says, how is PBD over? They had 325K views on today's show alone." You know, I actually think that if you remove the amount of people that hate watch PBD and the amount of people who watch it just so that they can see what his guests have to say, like if the whole show was just Patrick and his home team guys with no guests, I think it would be over. And obviously he's not literally over, but I'm forecasting the end of Patrick Bet David. Like, what do you think? Like, let's say the worst comes to pass. Everything is fucked, which is where we're headed. Economy is fucked. God forbid somebody drops a nuke. How is anybody even gonna like? Do you think people will still keep listening to Patrick, or do you think everybody will sort of be like, "Fuck this guy"?
If there's a nuke.
I mean, that's the extreme scenario, but like, you know, even if things just continue to get worse and we see, you know, it becomes obvious that this Iran war thing was like the wrong move.
I'll give Pat this. He's to a degree, he has somewhat of a head on his shoulders when it comes to like strategy and like, staying in the public eye. I think at a certain point, you know, he's going to realize like, okay, these people think I'm a fucking complete retard. Maybe I should just start talking about something else. Like, I don't know, being a numbers guy or some bullshit, you know, like he'll probably eventually just change his trajectory.
He used to do videos that was like numbers guy videos, like about sales and prospecting and being an MLM scammer and stuff like that. Then he pivoted to interviewing like athletes and mob guys. Then he went on to doing more political stuff. So he could definitely go back to like, you know, organized crime interviews and athletes and stuff. But I don't know. Honestly, my outlook on humanity has become a bit more misanthropic, I think is the word. Misanthropic might be a bit extreme because I think that means like you actually have a deep hatred or contempt for humankind, which I don't have. But I've become a bit more pessimistic because I just see it time and time and time and time again that if you are just a confident liar and a confident bullshitter and a confident con man, for some reason, And you know, there's the saying, there's every minute there's a sucker born. For some reason, it just seems to be the way of the world that you will ultimately prevail and, you know, have basically no consequences or irrelevant, non-mitigating consequences. Like, I just watched this Tommy G video. Shout out to Tommy G. And it was about him going to the Capitol, and he was like presenting these tongue-in-cheek awards. Here, I'll pull up the video. He was presenting awards to different politicians. It's called the video is called America's Best Stock Traders. Here, I'll pull it up on the screen so you guys can see it. It's called America's Best Stock Traders. This video 8 days ago, and basically, he has a guy who's explaining to him in the video that the penalty for any one of these politicians who doesn't disclose their trades within like 30 days or 60 days or something, the fine, just without looking, I just want you to guess what the fine is for one of these people who doesn't disclose trades that might be making them potentially millions of dollars.
I think it's like $500.
$200.
Oh my God.
So you can be a politician who's meant to be a public servant. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And, you know, I'm not saying that they're committing insider trading, but a lot of people feel that way, that must be how they're so good at being stock traders, or that their spouses or close relatives are so good at being stock traders because they get the information from them and they have privileged information. And how could you get that information unless, you know, how do you have time to get that information and be a stock trader when you're busy, you know, being a public servant? And the idea that the fine for that is only $200 and nobody does shit about it is, I mean, disappointing doesn't even begin to cover it. And then it's like, yeah, look at MLM scammers. You can lie and lie and lie for years and take advantage of people from desperate communities, or, you know, less educated communities, less privileged communities, and then just walk around like Patrick Bet-David with your suit on, talk about, I'm a numbers guy, business guy, I did this, I did that. And again, nothing happens to you. Even like in the US, multi-level marketing or even operating a pyramid scheme is a civil infraction. It's not considered criminal, which is strange because, you know, Bernie Madoff running a Ponzi scheme is a criminal act. You can go to jail for that. Bernie Madoff went to jail for that. And MLMs, in my opinion, are just Ponzi schemes with extra steps, Ponzi schemes with a product, you know, essentially laundering the money that is just people paying to join and people getting paid out for recruiting people to join. But that's only a civil offense. So it's like you could scam to the ends of the earth, and the worst thing you're going to get is a fine, which is insignificant to the amount that you made, and perhaps a ban on being involved in MLMs. And a great example of this just happened less than a year ago when the FTC finally sued I Am Academy, who I made several videos about in 2021. And Alex Morton, the biggest promoter of I Am Academy, the most prominent, who was also a promoter of Vima, which was shut down for being a pyramid scheme before he joined I Am, he was forced to pay a settlement of $10 million. But he made, according to the FTC, 72 or 70-something million dollars during the course of his time with I Am. So what does that tell people? You can allegedly perform insider trading as a politician and the fine is $200. You can run a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme for years or be involved in it and making these deceptive claims for years, make $70+ million and only have to pay $10 million. If I woke up today, if I woke up tomorrow and somebody told me, oh, you owe $10 million, but you're still left over with $60 million, I would be doing backflips of joy. And all it would require is me putting, you know, hanging my morals on the shelf. And it's like, I think right now, America, and maybe Canada too, but certainly the West overall, and certainly America specifically, is sort of like the end result of what you get when a society is like, when you're incentivized as a society to not be a good person. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's you know, it's almost like they reward a lot of these people, and you know, for their wrongdoings. But one thing I want to clarify, because you might know more about this than me. So people who steal money through scams and such, when they get caught and they get thrown in jail, they don't have to pay that money back to the people they stole it from?
In the case of Bernie Madoff, yes, but I mean, they can claim back what they recover. So let's say that it comes out that over the last 10 years you've been running a Ponzi scheme and you made $10 million. Well, you've obviously spent some of that money during that time too, which is unrecoverable. Like you ate food, you ate dinner. They can't recover the money that you spent on that steak dinner however many times. They can't recover money that has been converted to crypto. They can't recover money that's been put in like some overseas Cayman Islands shell company trust account. There's many ways to splice it up. So, and then in the case of the MLM thing, like, yeah, that's another question that I have, because the FTC, in the case of that I Am Academy one, they said that I Am Academy was like a $1.2 billion fraud, to the best of my recollection. So $1.2 billion. You would think that they would be seeking for the promoters of that fraud to pay up as close to $1.2 billion as possible. The problem is, and the reason that they don't require that, the reason that they say just pay us $10 million and we'll go, is because the FTC has a limited budget to go to war litigating against these people. And so what they do is they offer settlements so that they can just basically move on to the next thing. Because if I'm the FTC and my budget for the year is only, I don't know, $300 million or whatever, and I have a limited number of staff, and we're going against a scammer who has $70 million sitting in the bank account, and he's going to fight us in court on why he owes this much, or if he owes this much, or what. It's going to take years of time. It's going to take countless dollars. You know what? Let's just call it 10 million, and we'll be out of your hair. Herbalife as well, same thing. Herbalife, Bill Ackman had a massive public campaign against Herbalife, saying that they were a pyramid scheme. FTC finally investigated, and Bill Ackman had a short position on the stock of Herbalife, betting that they would go to zero. There's a movie about this called Betting on Zero. And that didn't happen because an opposing Jewish Wall Street hedge fund guy, Carl Icahn, bought up the stock to increase the stock's value, and they had like this big... It was hilarious. It was like a public spectacle of these two rich Jewish guys just basically throwing money at each other and arguing. But the day that the FTC even announced the lawsuit against Herbalife, they simultaneously announced the settlement with Herbalife. And I'm not sure of the exact word for this, but it was somebody who was hired by Herbalife at the time that this lawsuit happened, was the recently departed chairperson of the FTC. I believe his name is John Leibowitz. He had just recently departed from the FTC and now was advising Herbalife on this deal. So this is another criticism of the whole MLM thing, is that it's a revolving door between regulators and the people they're supposed to be regulating. If I can leave the FTC, but then I become the compliance director for Herbalife while the FTC is suing them or investigating them, I don't know if you would call that a conflict of interest because you're not now working at the FTC anymore, but it certainly makes me raise my eyebrow, I'll say that. And so they announced the settlement the same day, $200 million. This is just my opinion, but if you've been found to have done $200 million worth of bad thing, you probably shouldn't be allowed to continue operating. And they didn't just find that $200 million was the amount of bad thing they had done. $200 million was the settlement they agreed on to say, let's not make a big thing out of this. So again, it's like, it's incentivized, it seems, to be bad. Even in Canada, we have such a monopoly, various monopolies going on. There's like 4 banks, there's 2 airlines, there's 3 big grocery stores, there's 3 telecom companies. And, there was a scandal a couple of years ago, mini scandal, where like the head of the CRTC, the Canadian Recording Something Commission, they're basically the regulator for the telecom companies, and the CEO of like Bell were out having drinks together. And it's like, okay, you would expect that in a professional capacity that these guys would have some sort of cordial relationship, but also one of them is supposed to be keeping an eye on the other. And they're out here like boys having drinks. Like, what do you really think's going to happen? Nothing. So, I'm and with me personally as well, over these last few years dealing with lawsuits and still presently dealing with lawsuits that get more and more stressful and more costly and more uncertain by the day, literally. I have a growing sense of apathy. I hate to say it. I have a growing sense of hopelessness about about what I'm doing. Because yes, it makes me feel good to help people, but you get punished for blowing the whistle on the bad guy and you get rewarded for being the bad guy. So I'm kind of stuck because I know that I don't have it in me to go and be the bad guy. So what should I do? Just keep my head low and try not to upset anyone? And I don't know. You get where I'm coming from.
Dude, I go through this like every day in my head, right? It's like there's a lot of people who support us. You do your content exposing a lot of these MLM people. Me, I think a lot of satire about political figures and celebrities, and people love our content, right? But a lot of them, if we stop today, they'd be disappointed in us, right? Why'd you stop? Blah blah blah. We like you, and then they'd probably just forget about us eventually, But in that moment of anger, they would be upset that we didn't continue, right? But they don't know what we go through when we're doing this shit. They don't even show their own faces on their accounts that they're writing comments on under our Instagram or YouTube posts. But we're the ones putting our faces on the line, our names on the line, our reputations on the line, taking all the risk, right? To do these things, to go after these people and raise our voice. And, we get a lot of backlash for it. There's a lot of risk behind it. So, yeah. I mean, even myself, I'm like always stuck in between this rock and this hard place. Is like, the risk to the reward thing. It's I don't know. I can't say I have an answer, to be honest with you. I can't say. I definitely think the answer is to not be a scammer. Don't be, like the people that you abhor, right? But do you always need to talk about it? Is there a need for it? Honestly, I think there should be somebody who talks about it, right? There should be. You just have to understand the risk that's associated with it. There's definitely a risk. That's why people don't do it as much,
Yeah. I also do wonder too, I hate to say this because I know people do care, but I sometimes wonder, it's like, do people really care? Like if I come out, which I may have to do based on my current situation, I may have to come out and do like a GoFundMe to keep fighting this legal battle that I'm in. Would people even care? Like, I don't know. I want to say yes, but I just feel like it's strange. I felt more confident that people would support me in 2021 when I had like 30K subscribers than I do in 2026 when I have 122K subscribers. And I don't know how to explain that or why. That's probably like a self-image thing that I'm projecting outwardly. But I just feel like since that time, so many people have woken up to this idea that maybe not woken up to, but people have adopted this idea that nothing they do really matters, nothing's really going to change, no one's ever going to be held accountable. So I wonder if people would be apathetic towards my situation and like basically say, oh, well, you should have just kept your head low and not tried to speak out or do the right thing. And I don't know.
Right. This is the real test, right? You put your, livelihood on the line to do something courageous and, take down people who are hurting others, and people say they support you. Now it's time for them to prove, how much do they actually support you? When push comes to shove, do they actually support you, or are they just going to write comments and, like your post? Do they really support you? Are they really, fine, they may not be willing to be the one that does the talking and putting their face out there, right? But you know, creators who actually do put their lives on the line and take on this risk, you know, we really do deserve a lot more support than we, you know, people don't understand the type of shit we go through, you know, the messages we get, the death threats we get.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah. It's an interesting, like, I can see the point of view of being like, well, you shouldn't have even opened your mouth to begin with. And also the opposing point of view where it's like, well, I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm going back and forth between like, do I just try to make enough money to scrape by and struggle and not air my, speak my frustrations about the world, or not try to make the world a better place before I die, and be frustrated and contemptful and resentful? Or do I try and then have to suffer anyways because of the bullshit? You know, it's like I know people who did it, who did everything right. Like, I feel like I did everything right too. I went to school. I never skipped school. I never did drugs, whatever. And now I'm an adult, and the adulthood that I was advertised, that I expected growing up, does not exist anymore, in my opinion. It's not the same as it was. It's not like you can just, our parents, when they were 25 to 30 years old, could have bought a house for, it's so astronomical compared to what it was back then, cost of living alone. So it's like, I see all these people who went around me, who went to school, went to post-secondary, got a degree, and struggle. And I didn't go to university, but I've been doing, I've been on YouTube for the last 7 years trying to grind that out and make that a thing. And I guess it's two sides of the same coin. They're not dealing with lawsuits and whatever, but they're also struggling from, not having the upward mobility that they thought they would have, or the financial security or whatever. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm. It's like I saw a comment that actually expressed it really good. It's like, I don't want to kill myself, but I sometimes, like, I don't want to be alive, if that makes sense. And like, I don't even that's dramatic, because I don't even it's not even that I don't want to be alive. It's just like, I'm I can't unknow what I know, and it weighs on me. I can't unsee what I've seen, and it weighs on me,
When you say unknow, specifically to what? Like the people, like the things and the practices you criticize?
I mean, beyond that, like how, when I first started doing MLM content, or even back in 2021, I thought, like, if I can create a groundswell of support and get people to report these companies to the FTC will do something. And then that did happen, did this whole campaign against I Am Academy in 2021. 2025, they finally got sued by the FTC. They shut down. A bunch of people scurried away and had to pay settlements. But then guess what? They were allowed to just go and start new MLM companies, or join new MLM companies, and, pay a small fine and still walk away with the lion's share of the ill-gotten gains that they had got. Meanwhile, I had gone through hell and high water throughout that process. So it's like, what did I really even move the needle? Like, yeah, public sentiment certainly was not favorable to these people while I was talking about them, but now it's 5 years later, and there's a whole new crop of people who were only 15 years old at the time I was talking about that company, who were still in school, who were playing Fortnite, who weren't aware or even tuned into the whole crypto Forex MLM scam era of COVID, who are now 20 years old and might have just popped up and never heard of these scammers before, who have now gone on to join these new companies and start these new companies, and they're just going to run the same shit again. So it's like, that's one example. The every show, every movie being propaganda is another example. Everything being owned by Zionists is another example. It's like, it's hard for me to, it would be hard for me to, like, I don't know. Maybe I could like go be a plumber or something. I don't know. Do drywalling. You know, where I'm not like directly contributing to something that's like, but then even then I would probably like, I watched one video that was like from More Perfect Union, I think, or Business Insider, which was talking about how like even the homes that get built are being built by these like private equity or private companies that purposely, how do I describe it? It's like vertically integrated where you buy the house from them, they build the house and they sell you the house and provide like the financing for it, but it's all like it's bullshit deals and poor quality houses and et cetera, et cetera. So even that, I would probably like, even if I got into like doing drywalling or building houses, I would probably end up feeling like I'm part of the machine. I'm part of the evil machine, you know? I even feel that way sometimes about making content. It's like, damn, I spend too much time on my phone. I need to stop scrolling and be productive. And what's my productivity? Making content that people would watch on their phone and scroll through. So, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
I couldn't even.
It's a lot.
Sorry, I'm sorry to rant, but like another example, if I was to go open a fucking restaurant or something, okay, who are the providers I can get the food from? Cisco and GFS, and it's like that's a whole nother racket in itself, monopoly industry of food providers. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, that's yeah, man, it's a lot to unpack. It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation, right?
Yeah.
And to me, it seems like you're somebody who feels like obligated to speak out against injustice that you see in certain realms, right? Like you feel like an obligation. Am I right on that?
I feel an obligation, yes, to do something, yes.
Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I had my own personal experience with MLM that made me want to speak out about MLM specifically. But speaking out about injustice overall, just generally, I don't know, like it's probably a childhood thing, you know. I always felt this way. I always felt like I need to fight for what I believe in. Maybe it's because I didn't feel heard or seen as a child, and now I feel the need to as an adult. I don't know. I liked Batman a lot as a kid. Maybe that was it. Maybe Batman just had a big influence on me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's something like that. Because I asked myself the same question. I feel like it's like it's a multitude of things. It's maybe something personal in my life where I felt like I could have done more to speak up and I didn't, or I saw people not doing enough in a situation that personally affected me, or maybe it's some type of uh, I'm making up for times in my past where I didn't speak up enough or didn't do enough. Maybe it's pride. I'm sure a lot of it's pride. I know a lot of it for me is like I'm ethnically Palestinian. I'm a diaspora. I've never even been there, but I see what's happening to my people. So I feel like an obligation to speak up for my fucking people, even though there's a lot of risk associated with it, right? But it's just like, just feels like an obligation. But there's some people who don't. There's some people who just shut the hell up about it and go on about their lives and become doctors and lawyers and engineers and what have you. But I don't know. We're not all the same. Like it's at the same time. What am I going to do? Just like compare myself to each and every individual person. We don't have the same past experiences, personality traits, et cetera, et cetera. So that experience that you had with MLM and your childhood is not the same that I had or somebody else down the block had. So it's hard for me. It's hard for anybody to just come and tell you should do X, Y, and Z. It's just stop, speaking out against what you feel passionate about. It's definitely like a long.
Do you get that from people? Do people send you messages like you should talk about blah blah
blah? In like what sense? Like I should like divert my attention, or just give me advice?
Both.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it also could be like maybe because I feel like there's no chance of me getting what was. There's no chance of me. Actually, I don't want to spoil this podcast that I'm about to drop, but I filmed this podcast last week. with a very controversial guy who's like a controversial online creator. And I said during the podcast, I was like, I almost don't look forward to anything anymore. And maybe that's another part of why I'm doing this, because it's like sometimes I feel like hopeless about my own situation. And so maybe the only thing that I can hope to do that would make me feel good is like provide some positive impact to other people's lives, while I'm here, because it's like the home thing, right? I used to be like disappointed that I would never be able to own a home. Now it's like, would I even want to own a home? Because there's no sort of identity to Canada. Like I live in Alberta. Literally, the province is about to hold a referendum in October on whether we should separate and become our own fucking country. Like we hit the minimum amount of signatures required to have this as like a question on the next whatever election ballot that's shown to Albertans if they want to separate and become their own country. So so clearly there's other people who feel the same way about me, that it's like if the country is gonna not have an identity, we at least would like to have an identity. And Alberta, the reason Alberta is the one doing this, I think, is because pretty much the rest of the country, or a good percentage of the country's economy, relies on Alberta. We have the oil sands. We have the beef. We have the farms. This is like a very almost, I guess maybe Texas would be a good comparison for Alberta. But like Alberta's the big player, economically speaking, when it comes to Canada. So I think the sentiment, and I need to do more research on this, but I think the prevailing sentiment is like, look, we're busting our asses getting this fucking oil out of the ground. The rest of the country relies on us, and all we want is to be able to afford, food and gas and rent and, raise our kids. And in response, everything is fucking crazy expensive. The money is being sent overseas. They're importing immigrants from India by the millions, literally, and we're losing our identity, we're losing our safety, we're losing our buying power, everything. And I'm not one of these people who's like pushing for separatism. I only just recently even learned about this, but I certainly am on the same page in terms of feeling like the apathy of I'm sure these people are feeling as well.
Yeah, like your government doesn't give a shit about you. It's the same thing in America too. It's like we're over here starving. Our health, we barely have health insurance. That's not a problem I think you have in Canada. You guys have good health insurance, but here in America it sucks. And it's like, you're increasing, inflation's going crazy, gas is going crazy, and your solution is to go start another war for fucking the Epstein class in Israel. Like, fuck you, because you don't give two shits.
And it's rubbed in our faces. I mean, when Hillary is getting deposed or Bill Clinton is getting deposed, it's like, I saw a comment on that where it's like, wake me up when somebody goes to jail for this shit. It's like, nobody's going to jail for this shit. Even this is another. Did I close that tab? Let me see. This is another example. I was planning on talking about this later, but I can pull it up now. This is another thing that happened recently, and I'm sure you guys have seen it online. This is another thing that happened in Canada recently. This is the NDP. This is the most like 2020 coded video that happened in 2026 that I can't even believe it. So I want to see if I can find a compilation of this where someone's not reacting to it. So this is the NDP party in Canada. Okay, watch. Let's just watch this. New Democratic Party 2026 convention in Winnipeg turns into a disaster as delegates argue over equity card privileges. So they quite literally created a victim card, okay, that these people are armed with at this convention. And let's just see what happened at it. This is Canada in 2026.
Order, Robert Alley, he, they. My understanding as an equity-seeking delegate is that these cards are to help the chair hear equity-seeking persons, and that we don't only hear from white male delegates.
The prevailing comment I see on this, by the way, is like these people are the enemies of like productivity. Like they don't get anything done. They just sit around. And mind you, these points of personal privilege and point of whatever the fuck are just simply to talk about the bureaucratic processes within this convention, not any actual topic itself. So each of these people has a different colored card depending on what victim status they are. And they're arranged in a hierarchy based on that. Let's watch.
Wrong, but the reason for my concern is that yesterday during the housing resolution, after a white man spoke, someone at this mic waved their equity card only to give their speaking spot to a white man. Now that white man being a leadership delegate notwithstanding, I had lined up for a long time to discuss the housing resolution, like many others, including my fellow delegate, Akua. I just want us as a body to understand the spirit of these cards, because we are a party governed by processes and not by any sort of shock doctrine.
So imagine that. Imagine instead of actually talking about the housing reform or whatever that they're there to talk about, they're sitting up there bitching about how a white man got to speak before him. I mean, how much time did this eat up? A minute of time from this, you know, and he's not the only one. There's many, like, let's skip ahead. Here's another lady. Let's see what she's complaining about.
The sentiments of my friend Rob.
Yeah, go ahead.
That girl next to this black girl, she's pretty cute.
Holla at her.
Yeah. But I got to hear her talk first because she might be fucking annoying.
Okay,
Is she gonna speak? Is she gonna speak? I want to see what she has to say because she might ruin it with her fucking mouth.
Robert here. Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner.
Oh no. What are we gonna do?
And while I understand in Ontario we know this is equity, even if this was also used inappropriately in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a black woman have no value outside.
You identify as a black woman? Is that necessary when you are a black woman? I don't think anyone I don't think anyone would walk up to this woman and be like, sorry, what color are you? The blackest woman you've ever seen in your life here.
The self-victimization is insane.
Side of this space.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. No shit.
Many of us are living in the most oppressive conservative governments across this country. I am from Ontario. A lot of you are dealing with this in places like Alberta as well as Saskatchewan.
Okay, skipping ahead. There was one okay, here, look at the leader. This literally looks like if you ask ChatGPT, if you put a picture of Hitler in ChatGPT and was like, make Hitler a gay androgynous libtard. Even like the hair being coiffed to the side like that, like.
Yeah. Like make Hitler if he supported what he was opposing.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a point. Let's hear the point on microphone.
Hey, ChatGPT, generate me what it would look like. Generate me a person standing at a podium that would look like the type of person who would be standing at a podium if Hitler lost. Oh, that is what happened? Oh, okay.
Look at this. Hold on. Look at this bitch's ears, bro. They're fucking huge. They look like she could fucking hear my thoughts.
Well, because as a white person, self-hating white person, you need to listen to the concern. You need to listen to the concerns of minority groups who are being oppressed.
Oh my God.
That's why.
There is a point. Let's hear the point on microphone 1.
I'm sorry, just real quick. Point of personal privilege. I understand there's very little time and for delegates to speak, but early on the mic, it's hard as a racialized and transgender delegate to sometimes use this card and speak to somebody in front of me in line and ask, hey, this pertains to multiple intersecting parts of my lived experience. I'd like to speak. I was rejected when I...
I just want to say this as a note. To my subscribers, I don't hate anyone. But we're all on board in 2026 that this shit is absurd, right? Like, we're past this, right? Okay.
Talked And it's frustrating when these are my rights being directly under attack right now in Alberta, and that a cisgender woman had spoken over me. And I understand her rights are important too. This pertains to her too, but I don't know. I hope that in the future the federal NDP will also have a broader interpretation of the equity cards for speakers. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Just going back to Patrick, Adam Sosnick speaks out after debate backlash on Piers Morgan. Did you actually see what he said on Piers Morgan? Look at this fucking lineup.
Oh, I watched the whole thing. I did.
You did?
Yeah, between him and he got destroyed.
I need to see some of this. Okay.
I'm gonna need you to send me that video we were just watching though, so I can try to find that hot ass girl that was in that video.
You're hilarious.
Bro,
do you really want that problem? She's at this fucking NDP psychopath thing.
I could change her, bro.
Okay, true.
So
I could
I'll just break this down real quick. We didn't have this discussion prior. You just kind of preemptively brought this up, and I'm totally okay with it. If I wanted to have a ideological debate with Dave, I would probably rephrase it that the world is a dangerous place, and he wants to pretend that he's an ostrich and not engage with anybody. So, to use an analogy, if this guy was a dating coach, he would say, just sit at home all day and wait for women to knock on your door, and that's when you can respond to women. The world doesn't work that way. If you're a sales coach or if you're a sales manager, that's like saying, just stay by the phones.
What do you think's the outcome of a debate?
But the outcome of a debate.
Forget Dave Smith. This isn't a Dave Smith conversation. That could have been John Doe. I'm not talking.
But the point is that I'm trying to make with ideologically, we're not aligned.
What is the purpose of a debate?
To find the truth.
The purpose, it's a clash of ideas.
Sure.
So somebody can watch and say, wow, good point. Never thought about it that way. Let me go back and look at it, right?
Basically, just a longer way of saying what Adam said. But
that is the purpose of a debate. Go for it.
Okay, thank you for that, Pat. So insightful.
Dave Smith completely.
Okay, hold on. We also we totally skipped over this, by the way. So let me wrap up one thread before we go to another. But this is the clip of the alleged plagiarism by Patrick on Professor Jiang.
Oh my God, really, bro? More numbers, guy?
The war in Iran is chaotic right now, whether you support it or not. Everyone's wondering how ugly could this turn into. If you look at the doomsday clock when they started in the late 40s by policy experts and scientists, it's at 85 seconds to midnight. It's never been this bad. So everyone's wondering, could this turn into a possible big nuclear war? And when has a regime change?
Yeah, the way he talks with his hands. So could this be this, or could it be that, or could we be going over here and over there?
War.
Could it be both?
Yeah, or both. Yeah.
When has a regime collapse work? When we hear about regime changes, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
Is this nigga trying to be Professor Jiang? Are you trying to copy Jiang, my nigga?
Today I'm going to talk to you about the 8 possible consequences of how this war could end. From worst case scenario to best case scenario.
He's literally doing from here to here or both. Yeah, he's literally doing the classic.
Nigga, we know what side you're on. You brought Netanyahu on your stupid. Should I get a ratio? Oh, this is gonna be an easy one.
I like that guy under his comment. I like his comment. I'm not listening to 16 minutes. I'm not listening to 16 minutes of slop. Stop twerking for the camera. Get to the front lines and fight the Iranian people you hate so much. Exactly. Like
type shit.
This regime changed so much. Go fucking fight yourself, you big nostril fucking hater. Seriously.
Easy ratio. And watch the video. I'm not watching this fucking slop. No one cares. Send the dot. Yeah, you know what? Let's dot him. Shoom. I love that one. Gas it up.
LOL.
The dot ratios go crazy. That IDF ratio, we need someone to, that was a brutal one on the IDF. Come on. I have a pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, so where was the... Okay. So he doesn't actually... I mean, there's no point in me pulling up the comparison of the Dr. Jiang video and the PBD video. You can go watch for yourself. I mean, it got community noted on Twitter, which is not the first time he got community noted. He also got community noted about his MLM scheme last year, which I did a video about. Okay, let's see. This is supposedly highlights from the debate. Let's watch it. And we're going to look at it because I actually never saw this and I wish I did.
Most unpopular war in American history going in. Check the scoreboard. 13 dead Americans, millions of innocent people being displaced.
You have the luxury of sitting in your little studio with your hooded sweater like you're 17 years old.
I have a wife and children. Who depends on you, Adam?
Ooh!
Your mom?
Like you're 17 years old, okay? And I'm Patrick Bet David's bitch, all right? Look at my red face. I'm vindicated. I'm going to win this debate.
Crazy work. I like how Adam, of all people, he set himself up for that. Adam, of all people, going to like the low-hanging ad hominem attacks based on him sitting in a... So is that an insult now that you're sitting in a studio? Look at you sitting in a studio with a sweater on. It's like... Sorry, it's now gay or like somehow shameful to like be comfortable in your own in your own space. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, he reminds me of like a bad woman.
Playing Monopoly with Pat would be so torturous. You landed on Ventnor Ave. That's mine. So let's take that. Oh my god! Imagine trying to do a deal with him.
Okay, I also have a.
Your mom?
Okay, I also have a.
Your mom? Your mom?
LOL.
Okay,
so that's like honestly, I'm supposed to 3 hosts, dude. Comes up with many.
Oh no.
Front of a camera right now, and it's kind of weird to accuse someone else. I very much believe the things I'm saying.
Okay, here let's.
And you know, some person majoring in gender, still to debate that. I mean, do you
think someone else all equally in front of a camera right now, and it's kind of weird to accuse someone else. I very much believe the things I'm saying.
Dave,
now, to Adam's point,
Dave, don't run from the comment.
Because there's a
don't run from your comment.
I'm trying to
address
get to
the
it,
comment,
but there's a
not
lot
Ben
here.
Shapiro, would you? Good,
yes,
let's go. Wrap it up.
No, I'm going to make the points I want to make.
You called the United States.
It is so funny for like anybody on this show to be accusing anybody else of like being like, oh, you just want attention. It's like, what was this guy Adam Sosnick doing before he was on Piers Morgan on set? I mean, he was probably like working for some scam multi-level marketing company. Like the guy was probably like a crypto shyster. And now he's on Piers Morgan, you know, arguing war in the Middle East. So it's like, let's
so fucking true.
Let's not pretend like anybody here doesn't want more attention.
It's military.
You're just slowing. Okay, so
you called the United States military the greatest terror organization in the world.
Adam,
defend.
Just let me answer.
They are.
No problem. I'm going to go back to the order I was going to go in. To Adam's point, when Adam says I'm a radical libertarian and I say that this is true Americanism, I mean, look, my favorite founding father is Thomas Paine. Not everyone considers him a founding father. And maybe I love him so much because he never held a government position and didn't own slaves, which I thought was pretty cool. But Benjamin Franklin said he was the most consequentialist and the one person most responsible for the United States of America existing. His famous pamphlet that he wrote was called Common Sense. And I think on the first or second line of it, he says, government is at best a necessary evil. So at best, he's like, this is clearly on the anarchist to night watchman state spectrum was what true Americanism was when it started. Now, for me to say what I made the point, and I've made this point.
Adam can't even comprehend what he's being told right now. By the way, I did not know this, Plain Decoded. Did you know that the parliament building in Iran is a giant pyramid? Wow. So it was it was prophesized from birth that Pat would end up running a multi-level marketing company one day. This looks crazy. This looks like some shit out of like Dune. This looks like Star Wars type shit. Okay, let me go back to this.
A million times on your show, Pierce. I was saying when people come on and say Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism, well, just like give me an objective definition of what terrorism means, and then let's apply that standard universally. And if you're going to sit here and say, look, America has given billions, tens of billions of dollars to the IDF in the last few years. We've also, by the way, given a lot of weapons and money here. Your first guest on this show there, the head of the Obama deep state, was using Al-Qaeda, bin Ladenite head choppers on the ground in Libya and in Syria. And yes, Adam, I would also consider it when our politicians lie us into wars that slaughter millions of innocent people and in many cases target those innocent people. I consider that terrorism as well. There's the answer, Adam. And if you want to keep doing this, buddy, you could tell me to check the scoreboard. I'll run circles around you on this, dude. Check the scoreboard. Most unpopular war in American history going in. Check the scoreboard. 13 dead Americans and and 150 plus other wounded. Thousands of innocents, including little schoolgirls in Iran, killed. Dead innocent Israelis. Hundreds of dead innocent people in Lebanon. Millions of innocent people being displaced, all at the cost of tens of billions of dollars and destroying Trump's coalition. Check your scoreboard, Adam. How's it looking for you?
Okay, Dave.
I guess if that's how you feel.
This guy's funny. Shout out to this guy. What's his name? Mediate.
So he kind of goes on to talk a little.
Or sorry, media tie. No, mediate spelled wrong. Okay.
CNN is going to read you these popular war in American history going into the war. And CNN is going to read you these North Korea numbers. Actually, in fact, I think it was better than Kim Jong-un did.
Yeah, that is a fa moment, Specs. Super fa.
In his last election, 100% of MAGA. But what does that really mean? I mean, the truth is, Pierce, you kind of nailed it here in your opening, right? Even when Joe Biden was clearly senile and was forced to pull out of his reelection campaign, the majority of Biden supporters still supported him, you know, and like there was still going to be like 40-something% of the electorate would have voted for Joe Biden. Now, that wasn't enough, though, and that's why they forced him out, because you need a coalition to
I need to hear Adam. I need to hear Adam's raps. I need to hear Adam bar up. Let's see if he says one intelligent thing, or maybe this guy clipped around it, but I want to see.
It is flag. Muscle, American flag, muscle. I mean, like, you know, I debated the most unfunny, unpatriotic comic in America. R.I.P. Chuck Norris. Pray hands, karate, too. Valuetainment. Is this a Loomer Unleashed? Can you imagine anyone that you'd want to put your hat in the ring with Laura Loomer?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, to sum it up, he just like talked about somebody else's fucking debate that he had with Dave, and
your boy got bodied.
Yeah, you lost another debate. I can't win a debate with you, so I have to bring up another one you had.
Dave Smith is also Jewish, so Adam couldn't play the anti-Semitism card.
I know. I'm sure he was very disappointed in that.
That was probably tough for him. That was really tough.
Yeah. He still found a way to play the victim, though. So, you know, kudos to him.
Yeah, well, obviously, all of Dave Smith's points are moot and invalid since he wears a sweater and is in a studio.
Right. He needs to be, you know, he needs to have thicker eyebrows like Ben Shapiro.
I have a question. Do you think, I think I sent you a reel about this. Yeah, I did. We were talking about this. So we're having dinner last night. We're talking about, do you think that do you think that all of the people who is waking up, okay, do you think they are part of distracting everybody from thinking about this, talking about that, so that we're not working about doing anything about what's really going on or not?
You know, all of us waking up, I think that's a natural response to what we've seen in the last 2.5 years post October 7th. The fact that we're able to talk about it on certain platforms like Instagram, et cetera, makes me question, you know, ultimately, you know, they were complaining about TikTok spreading anti-Semitism, but really it was just like a place for, you know, young kids to be pro-Palestine and anti-Israel. And they noticed it was owned by China. So you know, the pro-Israel groups, crowd, whatever the hell you want to call them, the hegemony, the oligarch.
Oligarch, yeah.
Pro-Israel oligarch needed to buy TikTok, as Bernie Sanders would say, so they can control it. I think the most important thing is for them to control it, because they bought TikTok, and you see some more pro-Israel, pro-Jewish shit on there, like stop anti-Semitism ads and et cetera, but you still see the anti-Israel sentiment on TikTok. And, you know, they never really brought up.
What's the point of owning it or controlling it, but not stopping that type of content?
I think they're stopping it to a degree by like there's certain creators that they've completely just blocked, right? There's one creator called Jacob Berger. He's Jewish, but he makes a lot of pro-Palestine reels. Dude, he's like been on his 4th account. They banned him. He literally cannot make.
I've seen this guy.
Yeah. And it's crazy.
Really?
It's funny. Yeah, dude. He's like, that's it. It's cooked. And he used to make his money primarily on TikTok, and they took it from him. So I think that's one of the main reasons. So I think they just feel comfortable being in control.
Do you are you public about like your religious beliefs? You don't have to be. I'm not trying to put you on the
I am. I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself a sheikh or like an imam, but yeah, I'm Muslim. I'm not like super. If somebody asks me about it, I'll bring it up. But
right. Okay. Got you.
Why do you ask?
Plain Decode. I forget why I asked. Plain Decoded says you guys are ODing on J pills. I'm not. I don't agree with anything Reborn is saying. I think he's a bad person. I think he's a very bad person. I'm just being polite to him because he's here on the show, but I really don't like.
Since we're on YouTube, I just started streaming myself. I mean, you get like warnings for like the littlest shit, so we probably have to,
motherfucker, it's you.
All right, well, you, yeah,
it's you.
Your channel. It's your channel, so we probably have to like.
Let's talk about something else. What's your favorite breed of dog? Favorite food?
The German Shepherd.
Oh, German Shepherd. Favorite clothing brand? Favorite clothing brand?
Favorite clothing brand? Hugo Boss.
Favorite type of car?
Between Mercedes and Volkswagen.
Great cars. How about favorite like technology company?
Oh man, that's tough today. I don't know.
Like headphone. I'm wearing headphones. Do you have like a headphone company that you like? I know Sony is popular. There's Sennheiser.
I gotta be honest. This conversation kind of bores me.
Favorite soda? Favorite soda pop?
Not a big fan of soda.
But if you had to pick one,
if I had to pick one, I like bubble. I like
Fanta.
No, I like seltzer water. I
see.
I see water, but soda. I'm not a big fan. I don't advocate for drinking soda. I think people should quit drinking soda. Soda's trash.
I drink Coke Zero like it's my job.
Yeah, that's garbage, dude. That's killing you.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Don't you take this away from me.
Yeah. What do you think about Clavicular? What do you think about him?
He's a fucking interesting character, man. This whole looks maxing. I kind of support the looks maxing thing to a degree. I think they take it too extreme with like the surgeries and stuff. But a big part of the looks maxing stuff is like getting like a better jawline and fixing your facial structure. But that doesn't just have an effect on how you look. It has an effect on the way you breathe. And it makes you a healthier person. So I'm all for that. The whole, bone smashing and punching yourself in the face, I don't know if I really agree with, but he's been getting arrested a lot, getting in trouble with the police. So I feel like he's going down a bad path, but he's blowing up. He's really popular. I can't tell if it's a trend or if it's something that's going to last. I think it's just going to be something that lasts, but it'll be repackaged as something else, because to a degree, this whole idea of mogging people, I think it's been around forever when it comes to whether it was making statues and sculptures of people in Greece or in Rome, with certain poses, having a lot of muscle, or bodybuilders standing on stage and seeing who looks the best, or just, people standing next to each other and getting frame mogged today.
Type shit. There was actually a video that I thought was, I'm trying to see if I can find it again. It was like a clavicular. I think this is it. Clavicular. I need to see Clav on PBD. Oh my God. That would be next level brain rot. Clavicular. It's basically he's doing like The Bachelor. Let me see if I can find it. Clavicular. You know what's crazy? Think about how recently 2020 was. right? Think about like, I remember it like it was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
This guy was like 13 or 14 years old.
Insane.
That's fucking insane. Here's the video. Here it. Okay. Oh no, it wasn't this one. So he did this thing that was like around like a Jubilee type thing. And it was like 20 haters versus 1 looks maxer. And then he did, he's done a few of these where it's like 10 girls versus Clavicular, or it's like a Bachelor type thing. But he did one the other day. And, fuck, man, I'm trying to find it. I don't know. Maybe it got deleted. Let me go to my history here. I have a greater point to make. Here, this is it. Okay, I'm going to share this tab. Clavicular versus 10 blind dates. So this is a re-upload from somebody else's channel. But basically, he's doing this Bachelor thing, right?
What's up, guys? We're back. Welcome to the Love of Clav show. This is the first speed dating segment of many. So we'll have the technicalities more dialed in for next time, guys. But we are going to be doing a quick little speed date with a couple lovely ladies. And whichever one of them is the winner, we're going to do a full stream with them, take them out on a date. You know the drill. So it should be exciting. Let's get into it. Contestant.
Specs piling on to our previous thing about your favorite car and whatever. His favorite haircut. You don't have to answer that. Marco, can you be neon for Halloween? I take that as an insult. Mike Jones says, looks maxing is gay as fuck. Just accept yourself how God made you. Go to the gym if you're not happy. I Heart Ubu says, incel stuff comes and goes. So I just want you to watch just one of these interviews. They're very short. He gives each girl like a couple of minutes, but I just want you to watch one of these.
Oh shit. Somebody get my security guards. Uh-oh. Did we pat her down? You did?
I love the logo in the corner. Mog World Order.
That's mad funny. It's mad funny.
And by pat down, you didn't, nothing creepy? Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that later. How you
What do you
doing?
mean you do that later?
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you again. How are you?
Yeah. You're lucky in a good mood today, because last time you got a little crazy on the yacht, no?
Yeah, I know.
What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Well, you did it. You had a little bit too much to drink, or what?
Possibly.
It happens to the worst of
You got
us.
mad at me because I brought someone on the yacht. You're like L+1.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the redhead bitch is trying to cock block my friend. I don't know
What
what's up with that.
happened with that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. Was that intentional?
I have no clue.
The cucking of Tarzan.
Cucking of Tarzan.
Why did she feel the need to do that?
I have no clue. Honestly, I was on another side when that happened.
You were in another world, let's face it.
No, definitely not.
So, the first time I met you, I was pretty high on ketamine and a lot of other things. So I don't really remember, but I remember limp dicking you up in Delray Beach. But it's been how long since then? That was in what, December?
January 1st.
January 1st. Good memory. Are you sure?
Oh, her?
Yeah.
That was like December 20th.
December 20th. Okay. So yeah, that was a pretty good time, I would say. I don't remember much of it, but I remember my buddy was in the K-hole also.
Who?
You've been going out in Fort Lauderdale downtown recently?
No, I only been going out in Miami area.
Oh shit.
So who's your buddy?
You leveled up.
What do you mean leveled up?
Leveled up the 304 game, you know what I mean? Pound it. You know what I mean? That's some shit right there. I was gonna say that's.
Why haven't you been going out in Miami? What happened?
I'm just like not as big of a faggot these days, I guess.
So would you say back then you were a little bit of a...
Well, I mean, like the clubs and all that shit, it's just like...
But haven't you been going to Rock Bar and, you know...
Well, that's a little better because think about it, right? Last thing anyone wants to be doing is hanging around a bunch of 30-year-olds who are, you know, standing around with a bottle of tequila.
Is that what you were
know
doing
I mean?
in the clubs in Miami?
Well, that's what everyone does. They just go in and they stand there.
Usually with a younger crowd.
You're with the younger crowd.
Yeah, like
Really?
the younger kids.
Okay. Well, I don't get invited to those. Those are usually on an island
Wait,
somewhere.
I have a question.
What?
How did they treat you in jail? Were you in like a holding cell or what?
They were actually quite nice to me.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of
Yes,
people were fans, just kind of asking.
Wait, did you get like put like actually into the place, or were you in holding cell?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we have to watch much more for me to make my point. Here's what I find interesting, and here's where I think a discussion could be had about this, okay? I watched an interview with this guy where he's talking about how he's an accelerationist, where he thinks everybody's delusional, everything's going to hell, everything's fake, and he just wants to, like, he's not even trying to push against it. He's just going with the grain of basically degeneracy and nonsense because he wants to see it all crumble, was my understanding of his position. I think, and I wouldn't call it good, and I'm trying to find the words to explain how I feel about the whole existence of Clavicular. Because what does it say about our society that this guy, who's clearly not like he's clearly not somebody who is trying to like add a positive message to the world, right? He's basically telling you your only focus, your primary focus needs to be simply just looking better, which you could argue if that's a positive that he's giving to society or not. But he is a admitted drug user. He talks about it. He's saying here, I was high on ketamine. He's disrespectful. He's not funny. He's not charismatic or suave particularly. But what does it say that this guy is A, famous, and B, is able to sit here across from this girl and say things like, oh yeah, I remember limp dicking you in the back of the yacht or whatever. And she's a willing participant in this because presumably there's cameras. Maybe she thinks it's a clout move. Maybe she actually thinks he's attractive. But this is a girl who, like, her parents are presumably going to see this. Like, anyone in her life can see this. And she's a willing participant. It gets worse as you go through this video, and more girls, he talks to more girls about like, oh yeah, I smashed you here, or I'm gonna smash you there. Or he tells this girl, I felt so bad for this girl. Look what he says to this girl.
The both younger, well, middle-aged. So, have you ever?
Yeah, she says she's 25. He says she's middle-aged, and she's just like, this girl I felt so bad for. He tells her to literally go fix her makeup and then come back because her makeup is bad, like on a live stream.
At a restaurant in Boca.
Let me find the part. I literally had this playing in the background while I was like cleaning.
What's the second thing?
Well, guess the first one.
Sex.
Mm-hmm. And the second thing is I also want you to give me a blowjob. So.
Sorry, I'm mistaken. This is a girl he told what he's keeping her around for. This was the girl that he told to go away and come back when she fixes her makeup because it wasn't blended properly.
The girl from Arizona, New York.
Gotta set up backup plans.
They used to watch surgery.
He walked out of that OR, I'm a creepy bastard.
He can't watch? I'm down for you to watch. Is that bad? Can people not watch surgery?
I feel like you don't want to have me around too while you're getting operated on. But
why?
We'll let you get the hell out of here.
Yeah, all right.
So.
Wait,
sorry. Watch.
Do you want me to?
Well, on
Watch.
your forehead.
Watch. Okay, here it is.
Every time I say tomorrow, I think of her.
Yeah.
No, her name's Tamara. She's from Poland.
You didn't really blend the contour well on your forehead.
No.
What kind of comment is that to say? I mean, maybe this is like one of those old pickup artist techniques, like, negging, where you're like sort of criticizing her as a way of making her try to like fawn for your attention more. But I felt so bad for this girl here.
Probably not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of hungover.
Yeah? Do you drink every day? Do you want to go fix it real quick and then come back?
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want me to come back?
Yeah, why don't you go fix it? Come
Okay, what do I fix? I didn't really look in the mirror.
I'll let you figure it out.
Okay, wait, so I come back?
Yeah, you come back after you.
I mean, girl after girl continues to compete, and I don't know to what extent they're like leaning into a bit or what, but it's like, help me out here, Reborn. What do we make of this? that these girls are willingly participating in their own like humiliation and trying to pining for the attention of this guy who's brazen about how he just wants to have sex with them and then kick them out, and they're happy to go along with that publicly.
Yeah, this is a reflection of, you know, the society we live in today, what young kids want to see today, since he's so popular. And it's a reflection of hypergamy, which is the practice of marrying somebody or leveling up through your partner based on their status, wealth, value, etc. And you know, the average guy could never get away with talking to girls like this. I mean, he could do it, but they're all just gonna fucking, you know, they're not even gonna give him the time of the day for him to even be able to do this, right? But he gets away with shitting on these girls and humiliating them and embarrassing them to their fucking faces because he has the status to do so. And they come groveling back to him.
That's the craziest part. That's the craziest part. See, when Andrew Tate blew up a few years ago, I remember reading comments of people being like, oh, Andrew Tate's just exposing female nature. But you never really saw Andrew Tate interact with girls where he wasn't like, it wasn't like a podcast. You see this guy regularly in the clips that I've seen where he's like going out to clubs, just talking to random strangers in the street, talking to them like this. So this guy is arguably even more than Andrew Tate proving that there's, I don't want to say it's female nature because obviously it's like he's in Miami dealing with a bunch of young, dumb, idiot girls. This is obviously not a reflection of girls in society in general, but like the fact that there's any girls out here who are happy to be talked to this way on camera and still like go along with it. And like, bro, some of these girls, man, have been exposed like having a boyfriend and they're running around with him and like they're trying to whisper in his ear like, oh, I don't want to be on the stream, but he has the lapel mic clipped right there so you can it still picks up the audio. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And then it's like, by the time they even get back to his place or whatever, one of his boys has told him, oh yeah, this girl has a boyfriend. Like they saw it on the stream. It's already gotten around that she has a boyfriend. It's like, damn, bro. What? I don't know. It's like, you know, the thing I was talking about earlier, like the apathy thing where it's like everything is cooked. This is like, this is huge. Everything is cooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Energy here.
It's quite the time we're living in.
Think about how shameful and how rejected this type of content would have been like even 30 years ago.
Yeah. No. Andrew Tate walked so Clavicular could do ketamine.
Very deep. And this kid is 20 years old, bro. I'm 30. I just turned 30. This guy is 20 years old. You know? So it's really, I think it says more about the girls than it does about him. He's obviously like on some psychopathic, autistic level of like, you know, I think he probably has Asperger's where he's like hyper focused in on one thing, which is looks maxing, and he doesn't really seem to have much of a care about other human beings.
Yeah. And, you know, he really doesn't have that much game. He's not terrible here, but he's also just like really disrespectful to them. But, you know,
no,
these
but
girls,
it just, yeah.
But listen, these fucking girls would be disrespectful to guys who have no status themselves. They'll fucking shit on them anyway. So, you know.
Do you think that? Because actually, this podcast that I did last week, the guy that I did the interview with, he has a similar take where he said during the interview that if girls had like a Thanos snap, they would snap every guy that they found unfuckable. And that was the phrasing that he used. That was verbatim how he said it. And I just thought that was a hilarious statement because it's like, surely you don't think it's that bad.
Women abhor, like they hate the men that they find unfuckable. They hate them.
Do you really think so?
Yeah. It's not that they just dismiss them. They have a visceral like
they revile them.
Hate them. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Because listen, I mean, if you go down to like evolutionary psychology and the way a woman thinks, she wants nothing to do with a guy like that because she has to reproduce with a guy who she thinks will give her good genes and take care of her. And a guy that she doesn't respect and doesn't admire, if she comes into her sphere of influence and tries to, become her partner, et cetera, and have kids with her, she puts that guy puts her at risk of having reproducing with.
Shit, what happened? Shit, what happened, y'all? My bad. Can you hear me?
I don't know.
My bad. I don't know what. Yeah. My bad. What the fuck? Sorry. Continue. And reproducing with. I accidentally closed the thing.
Just reproducing with a loser, like their ultimate goal is to reproduce with somebody who's going to give them good genes, so they can have strong, healthy kids, and then they can be taken care of.
Sam here in the chat says they don't hate them; they just don't exist in their mind, like they're invisible to them.
That's partially true. But if they do come into their sphere and they actually have to hate them, they hate them.
You know what I think is a good example of this, which I think meets the 2 points, gives validity to both points, is like if you've ever been in a club, a girl is there dancing with her friends or with whoever and having a good time. So the guys she's not interested are invisible to her. If you ever see a guy that she's not attracted to walk up and try to like dance with her, I've seen the look where not first person experience. Every girl I try to catch a bubble on, she's always been a wagwan to me. But I'm saying like you've seen it where a guy goes to like try to grind on a girl and her friend who's facing him like does one of these, or like a guy comes to try to dance with a girl or talk to her, and she won't be like, oh no thank you, she'll be like, ew.
Yeah.
Damn. But I mean, this again, I don't know how to describe it. I don't think it's good, but I also can't say I think it's bad that Clavicular is doing these streams and this content showing that. It's almost proving his point that you'll be treated differently and treated better in society if you look better. And I would also fold being higher status into that, because he's also famous, right? Like he could probably lose a few points on looks and still be just as successful in his ability to talk to girls like this and do this just because of the clout, in my opinion. So he's kind of proving his point that like think about the exponential returns he's been getting by doubling and tripling down on this philosophy. He thinks that looking better is the way to improve in life and succeed in life. And his commitment to that looking better and the extreme measures he takes, like bone smashing and meth and whatever else, injecting shit into his face and doing testosterone as a teenager, has resulted in a level of attention that now he is actually famous. Now he is actually getting more attention from girls. So he's actually it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? He's kind of proving it by, which is sad to me. But it's also, this is what I mean. It's like I have a hard time describing what I actually think the net impact of this is. I can't say it's good, and I also can't say it's bad because it's shallow, which you could say is bad, but it's also like, I don't know how to explain it. It's also like exposing a reality, which I would say is good. So I don't know. Help me out here.
I mean, he's a reflection of the times we live in and that reality that you're describing. So, it's I think overall, you can make, I think he's not really a good example for young men because again, he gets in a lot of trouble. He does drugs. He's not a realistic example of what it is to like interact with women. Like guys don't have the type of status he has. Like I said, the game he has it's not really that good. He doesn't really have game.
That's what I mean. Is he's proving his point by being like a not clever or intelligent or funny person, just purely focusing on his looks, and it gets him to a point where he's able to talk to these girls with complete disregard and complete disrespect. And you know what? I've seen it in my own life. I have friends who are like model level looks, or it's not. I don't think he would mind me telling this story. My friend Franz, he's a Swedish bodybuilder. He literally looks like a G.I. Joe action figure brought to life. Let me give a shout out to Franz real quick here. I'm going to pull up his Instagram because he's one of my closest friends. Okay, let me share this tab with you. So this is my friend Franz. Just to give context. So this is my boy Fran's Instagram. He lives in Bangkok. Holla at him if you want personal training. He's honestly, as much as he looks like, oh, this guy is a douchebag, which is what I thought when I first saw him at the gym. This is like the nicest guy I've ever met. Like, this guy will literally give you the shirt off his back. He cannot walk past a homeless person without giving them money. I took this picture. Okay, this is a gorgeous human being. This is a gorgeous human being. The attention that this guy gets from gal is, I'll tell you a story on my Patrick Medvedev. I'll tell you a story about when we were in Vietnam in March of last year. I took these pictures. So we're in Vietnam, March of last year. Him and I spent the month there. Some of you might remember us streaming from Vietnam. What up, David? So me and Franz are walking down down like the beach. What do you call that? Like the
Riviera?
Basically the Riviera. You know, it's like sidewalk, but it's on the beach.
Oh,
and
okay.
We're walking, and the way it made my stomach turn to see women who were like arm in arm with their husbands or boyfriends or whatever, some of them having their kids in tow. So imagine you and I are walking towards each other, right? And we're passing each other. The way their eyes locked onto him all the way until he was out of their periphery, and it's this look. It's almost like, you know how there's the Indian guy, the creepy, like rapey eyes Indian guy look, where, I mean, I noticed this a lot in Thailand, specifically in Pattaya, Thailand, where like they stare, you know? If you ever watch videos of like foreign travel vloggers going to India, like especially white women, how they stare at them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This was like the female equivalent of that, where these women stared at him with like lust. And it was so sad for me to see, because I was like, we passed one girl who was so like staring so hard at him that we walked past and we just looked at each other, and I was like, bro, and he like shook his head, and I was just in awe. I was stunned. I was like, this girl is with her husband, who, mind you, was a handsome guy that walked past, but my friend was more handsome. And I was like, dude, I feel like that girl right now, you could have literally, as we passed her, grabbed her arm and then just like gently pulled her away from her husband, and she wouldn't have even resisted. And I was like, how does that make you feel to get ogled at like that? And he's like, bro, honestly, it makes me not even want to get into a relationship, because it reminds me like there's always a bigger fish to fry. And it's like, if some girl's going to look at me like that, what faith can I have that she's not going to look at some other guy like that? So it's really, Clavicular is right in the sense that you get treated differently depending on how you look. I have another friend who's like a model. I have seen girls talk to themselves in his DM. Girls who you can tell based on how good they look that they have dudes talking to themselves in her DM. Meanwhile, she's talking to herself in his DM. It's really fucked. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it's yeah, he's kind of like a reminder of what it's like, you know. I don't know. I mean, you know, you can do with that information what you will. Like, either build up your own social status and your muscles and money, et cetera, or, you know, you bitch and complain about it the whole time, and you just whine that Clavicular's getting all the huzz.
Yeah, so I guess he is kind of doing something good. And I can't lie, it's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I have enjoyed his content for sure, because it is, even if it's mindless, it is entertaining. But I do think it's telling. Like, obviously not all girls are like this shallow, but it's telling that somebody who just looks good, at least according to these girls, and is famous, that these girls will literally tolerate like pure blatant disrespect. And it's illuminating, I think, because I thought we had seen the pinnacle of like manosphere, red pill influencing with Andrew Tate and all that. But like I said, Andrew Tate never really was like showing it firsthand like this. Like, Andrew Tate wasn't doing videos, walking around live streaming, being like, hey, bitch, come here. I saw a clip of Clavicular walking up to two girls. Let's see if I can find it. Walks up to two girls. They're like two blondies. They're like, hey. And he's like, oh, I want to fuck both of y'all tonight. Like, that was like the intro. I want to fuck both of y'all tonight. And they're like, really? You want to have a threesome? Okay. And they're on stream. Imagine this. Your family, your father is going to see this. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's he's basically a celebrity. You know, that's how these celebrities were back in the day. You know, if you go to like a concert with fucking Michael Jackson or Tupac or some shit like that, girls were in the fucking crowd doing the same shit.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a camera on it now. We're able to like see it in real time now. It's unheard of. It's totally unheard of.
It might be, we're seeing it at a bigger scale, but this isn't something that's, I disagree that it's unheard of. I'm telling you, like, so if you hear the stories that like rock stars talk about on tour and shit like that, like they're talking about shit 10 times.
That's true. But you know, a rock star talking about it in his book is still not as firsthand proof like this. We've never seen anything like this, I don't think. Give me another example. Tell me another example.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, like the way the medium, or you know, the format we're seeing it in is much different, right? We're seeing it live streamed all to our phones on the street, et cetera, et cetera. We're like walking. It's like a reality TV show. It's like a documentary. Like we're fucking walking with these people and seeing it, you know?
And what's even crazier is like, this is why it's crazier than the rock star shit. A rock star telling you, like, I remember I read the two Jews from Kiss that run it, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, or Chaim Witz and Stanley Eisen, if you want to be accurate about their real names. They talk in their books about how the endless hordes of gal that they were pining during their famous Kiss. And that's different because those girls were like, even though they were probably brazen while they were at the concert about their groupie status, there was no cell phones. Like, it was basically only who saw them in person knew. These gal are on stream, bro. These gal are on stream. Watch here. Let me show you a clip. Let me show you a Bumba Clock clip right here. These gal are on stream doing this. Watch this clip. This is the one.
Hey, you guys are best friends, you said? I'm trying to f the both of you. Are you down? After threesome, okay.
See, will you follow us? Like look how social status is so important for these girls. Like, he's gonna follow you. He's probably gonna follow you in like a fucking hour.
He literally said, "I'll follow you after the threesome." You think he's gonna follow that bitch? Definitely not. And it's just such a shock to me because it's like, I do believe, like, do you know this? I hate this guy. And I mean, I hate him, not like literally, but it's like, oh, fuck, here he comes again. This guy, King. Do you know about this guy, King, on King 68 the Great? Do you know about this guy?
That black guy? Yeah.
This is another example, but he's more nonchalant with it. Let me see. King 68 the Great. This is hilarious. All right, let's pull up some King 68 the Great here. I'm queuing up a clip. All right. Bet. Here. Pull this up. All right, look at this. Look at this, y'all. This guy, the reason I hate this guy is because he literally just walks around filming himself, like pretending to not, like he purposely goes to where there's a bunch of gal and then acts like he's not paying attention just to like farm them coming up and talking to him because he's a tall, handsome black guy. Astaghfirullah. Doesn't even look at her or say a word. Like,
yeah. And then other guys are texting girls good morning fucking day. And
oh my god. Yeah, you know.
You're a basketball player? You're huge. You're something. You're an athlete.
I'm definitely something.
No, but
I'm
you're finally
multidimensional.
famous in some kind of way.
You said I'm famous in some kind.
like you're
What if I'm just a loser?
I'm saying you're a basketball player. You're
Honestly, what if I'm just a loser and I live at home with my mom?
I mean, you're tall and your skin's glowing. You are scared, yeah.
See, they don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a guy with like a good job and a heart of gold who's like 5'6", and they're ghosting him.
Well, thank you.
We like losers with glowy skin.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to be as unappealing and like boring as possible here.
Can I get your number? Get that Instagram. You gonna come with us and get McChickens?
Probably not. Probably not.
Okay, well, when am I gonna see you? Are you?
You see what I mean? Girls get so annoyed when a guy doesn't take a hint, and this guy's literally like, "What if I'm a loser? Probably not. I'm chilling." And they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you've done this." Go back to this tab. See, even the King 6'8", the great shit is not as crazy as the clavicular shit because those girls didn't know they were being filmed, I presume. These girls know, like, he's streaming. He has the mic clipped onto him, like, and this is the middle of the day. Those gal in the King 6'8", the great, it was after the club. They're drunk, whatever. This is the middle of the fucking day. Watch this clip.
Yeah, I'm trying to fuck the both of you. Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
I'm trying to fuck the both of you. Threesome, yeah.
That'll be a good time, for sure. Yeah. I'm down. I'm with it.
It's just unlike anything we've ever seen before. You know, I guess if you really wanted to play devil's advocate and make a counter argument against this, you might say, like, look at the actual girls that he's around. They might be attractive, but like they're not good people, and that you want to find yourself a gal who's not going to be out here in these Miami streets hooking up with King 6'8", the great and clavicular. But which is true. Those gal are also exceptional in that sense. I'm saying like they're the exception. So, but boy, is it a interesting sociological, thing to examine. Does this make you want to get on your looks maxing? Bro, you're in Florida, right? Go pull up on fucking Brickell and run around with the clavicular.
Yeah, I don't know. Brickell's like a little bit of a drive for me.
Okay.
I could, but one day, inshallah, I'll link up with Sneeko.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy I'm doing the podcast with is a friend of Sneeko and collaborator of Sneeko. So hopefully I can finagle jangle some shit.
Who are you doing this podcast with?
I haven't said publicly yet. I think I told you. I think I sent him to you.
This is the one you flew in to do, the controversial person? Or this is someone?
Yeah, sorry, I just saw your message saying gonna bounce soon. My bad. Yeah, I'm down as well. Yeah, I flew just to Calgary. It's like a 35-minute flight. It's like I could have drove, but
it's that person.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know he knew Sneeko.
Yeah,
I know who it is.
Go look at his. He was just on Sneeko's stream like 2 weeks ago. He has a clip on his IG. Sort his reels by. Go to his Instagram and sort his reels by most viewed. His most viewed one is from just a couple weeks ago. It's clipped from Sneeko's stream.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
So yeah, maybe I can make some connections happen here. That'd be cool. I fuck with Sneeko.
Yeah, me too. Hit your boy up, Sonny, too. He
oh yeah. Yeah, we'd have a good debate, Sonny and I. Well,
debate about what? Religion?
Anything.
Yeah, I feel you.
All right, well, appreciate you, my mogger, my fellow looks maxer.
I appreciate you, man.
Hell yeah.
Keep
well, big up everybody to Reborn one time in the chat. Follow him on everything. Reborn Vids on YouTube, all one word. Reborn, give us the nonsense. .vids on TikTok.
No, it's underscore vids.
Oh, underscore vids. Okay, and on Instagram.
On Instagram, it's .vids.
.vids. Oh, it could be worse. Honestly, it could be worse. I chose Always Marco because it was the only thing I could get on everything.
maybe Always Reborn is available. I have to
Maybe,
check,
yeah. I actually had to pay a guy like $200 for the Instagram handle because it was I could get Always Marco on everything but Instagram.
Yeah, man, it's been a little tough, like, because like on TikTok, someone had reborn.vids, but they don't fucking answer their messages.
I mean, you could change it, right? You could change it entirely, like not reborn at all. You could make it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm rolling with right now. I don't know, like if I come up with something better, I will. But I'm Reborn as of now. That's me. There's Clavicular, there's Sneeko, and there's Reborn.
Oh, bars, all one word. It's like Beyonce, Drake. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Appreciate you, Reborn.
Yes,
You're free. All right, I'm gonna end the call.
That sounds good. Talk
Peace,
soon.
King. Peace. Well, everybody, we back. He is a great guest. Yes, he is a great guest. Thank you.